In the, relentless engine of professional sports, we tend to focus almost exclusively on the starting lineup. The superstars, the players whose dedication you see every single night. But the character of a true championship team, I mean, the thing that defines those really gritty late-season wins, so often rests on the quiet commitment of the person on the bench. It's about a kind of patience that pays off big time when, unexpected chaos hits the rotation. So today we are diving deep into that exact dynamic. We're going to unpack a recent article detailing the Boston Celtics' road win over the Raptors, and we're focusing in on center Luka Garza's, frankly, brilliant breakthrough performance. Our mission for you, the learner, is to really pull out the key insights here about that famous stay-ready mentality. We'll analyze its strategic impact on a top NBA team and try to understand the true psychological cost of earning minutes when absolutely nothing is guaranteed.
And this story is such a perfect case study in resilience, and also organizational alignment, especially for a guy who's a newcomer. Luka Garza is, 26 years old, a first-year Celtic. He signed this past offseason to a 2-year contract that, and this is important, came with a very low guarantee. He's walking into a situation that, on paper at least, looked like a huge opportunity.
It really did look open.
Right.
The team had essentially cleared house in the front court. I mean, we saw
Right.
Kristaps Porzingis, Luke Cornett, and Al Horford all move on. That's a huge vacuum to fill.
It is a vacuum, but the Celtics front office and head coach Joe Mazzulla, they made the expectations crystal clear right from the jump. The message was, and it still is, the bar for entry here is elite. Minutes have to be earned every single day. So for a player like Garza coming in on that kind of deal, the pressure is just immense. You're not just battling opponents, you're battling this constant internal scrutiny. Knowing your job security really depends entirely on your preparation.
Okay, let's unpack that a little more, because the environment for Garza has been, intensely challenging. He wasn't just sitting. The Force describes him as a key fixture in the Stay Ready crew. And that's a real thing. It's a formal designation in a lot of pro teams. It means your job is preparation without any guarantee of performance.
And this is where you have to really think about the reality of the league. Even when the roster was healthy, consistent minutes were basically impossible for him to find. The competition for that backup center spot has been fierce. We know Nimias Quetta has sort of established himself as the reliable go-to big in that rotation.
Right?
And then you have Jordan Walsh, who's been on a hot streak, demanding minutes elsewhere on the floor.
So Garza's not just watching from the sidelines. He's competing every day in practice against guys who are getting those rotation minutes, all while knowing his own opportunity is, potentially on hold. The article really highlights how long the wait was. He hadn't touched the floor in a live game for over 2 weeks before this Raptors game. Those 4 straight DNPs did not place.
What's so fascinating here is the mental framework a player needs to sustain that effort. This isn't just about staying in physical shape, it's psychological warfare. How do you maintain the sharpness you need for an NBA game when you're mostly just running the scout team offense in practice? You're simulating the opponent, not even executing your own team's role.
It sounds incredibly difficult to stay motivated.
Right.
I mean, if you know you're almost certainly getting 0 minutes, how do you put in the work that keeps you game ready for a whole 82-game season?
That is the core question, yeah. And the source material gives us the answer directly from him. It's a quote from Garza back on November 9th about this very mentality. He said, and I'm quoting here, "We all want to get out there. Effort is a non-negotiable."
Effort is a non-negotiable. That implies a standard that exists completely separate from whether you get rewarded with playing time.
Precisely. The Celtics process, their system, it demands that patience isn't passive. It's not just waiting. It's about maintaining peak readiness because your chance isn't going to be triggered by merit alone. You've already proven your merit in practice. No, it's going to be triggered by necessity. The system relies on every single player trusting that preparation when the bell finally rings, even after weeks of sitting on the end of the bench.
Well, the bell finally rang, and it rang loudly. This is where that preparation meets the moment, because the opportunity came from, complete necessity and a bit of chaos. Jaylen Brown, one of their foundational players, was sidelined by an illness. This forced the entire rotation to shift, and suddenly, against the Raptors in Toronto, December 20th, Garza gets the call. This is right after those 4 straight DNPs.
And that preparation had to be evident immediately. It had to be. And it was. The moment he stepped on the court, you could just see it. For a player who hasn't been in the flow of a game, the challenge is just enormous, you know? To match the pace, the physicality right away.
So let's look at the numbers he put up. He logged 25 minutes and 43 seconds. That was his first time playing 20-plus minutes since mid-November. That's a massive jump in workload, and he didn't just survive it, he thrived.
The stats are just astonishing for a guy coming in that cold. He got his first double-double of the season. 12 points and a season-high 10 rebounds.
But the detail that really stands out, the one that tells the whole story of his effort that night, is the type of rebounds. 9 of his 10 rebounds were on the offensive end. 9.
Yeah.
That is only 2 shy of Paul Silas's franchise record of 11, which has stood for ages. That isn't just a high number. It's a staggering display of pure aggression and motor.
And that aggression translated directly into overwhelming strategic impact. He finished the night with a plus 22 rating, his highest of the entire season. For anyone who tracks the advanced metrics, a plus 22 means that in the 25 minutes he was on the floor, the Celtics outscored the Raptors by 22 points. That's not just impactful, that's defining dominance for a backup player.
That is dominance. But I have to ask, though, 9 offensive rebounds is just staggering, but how much of that is truly Garza's effort? And how much is maybe the Raptors' defensive scheme collapsing or a scouting oversight? Are we giving the Celtics prep too much credit, or was Garza just that overwhelming?
Well, it's always a combination, right? But the impact was clearly driven by Garza's motor. His sheer physicality is what caused the defensive collapse. He and the rookie, Hugo Gonzalez, who also had a double-double that night, they became Boston's first bench duo to do that since, Evan Turner and Tyler Zeller back in 2016? That says so much about the commitment across the entire reserve unit.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, It isn't just the stats. It's the strategic shift he created on the floor. The source specifically points out his work in the fourth quarter. He was just cleaning the glass 3 times on the offensive end, absolutely eating up possessions when the game was tight.
Exactly. That sustained physicality changed the entire flow of the game. That work led directly to Boston's 23-17 margin in second chance points. In a tight road game, that 6-point margin is everything. It's the difference between a win and a really disappointing loss. Garza's ability to just extend possessions was the defining tactical advantage of the night.
And the validation from the coaching staff was immediate. And it was powerful. Mazzulla didn't just give him a standard good job. He talked about respect. He said, post-game, I got a lot of respect for Luka. And then he added the highest praise possible. I think he changed the game for us.
And analyzing Mazzulla's praise, it really reveals the genius of their system. He wasn't just crediting Garza's talent. He was crediting the entire organizational commitment to patience and development. Mazzulla specifically said it was a credit to the player development staff and to Luka for just staying ready and trusting our process of winning. That trust right there is foundational to their success. It means the standard of play holds, whether you're an all-star or riding a 4-game DNP streak.
And the outcome of that effort was just tangible dominance in key areas, no matter who was scoring. The Celtics ultimately out-rebounded Toronto 38-28, and they outscored them big in the paint, 54-32. Garza's performance was the engine driving those margins. He forced the Raptors to play an entirely different game inside the arc.
And the timing couldn't have been better, because we can't ignore the team's struggles that night. Garza's ability to create those second chances, to command the paint, it helped mask a huge collective weakness for them: their 3-point shooting. The Celtics shot a pretty rough 12 for 39. That's only 31% from 3. Without Garza's interior focus and his rebounding, that poor shooting night probably cost them the game. Instead, they secured their 3rd consecutive win on the second night of a back-to-back, no less.
That is the absolute definition of a vital role player stepping up when it matters most. And this wasn't just a revelation for the Celtics staff, right? The opponent felt it immediately.
Yeah, that external confirmation from the other team's coach is always the most telling sign of real impact. Raptors head coach Darko Rajakovic, he acknowledged the specific challenge Garza presented. Rajakovic admitted, "We did not do enough of boxing out and fighting against those guys." That statement right there, it directly confirms that Garza's preparation was so obvious and his physicality so overwhelming that it just visibly broke down the Raptors' defensive strategy. He was simply too disruptive for them to handle on short notice.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner? When you summarize all this, Garza's performance is a definitive testament to embracing that non-negotiable standard of effort. He was like the backup quarterback who had studied the playbook every single week for months, totally ready to execute a complex game plan the second the starter went down.
Absolutely. This whole stay-ready mentality, it's centered on consistent effort and trust in the system. It's been integral to Boston's formula for success. It's a big reason why they're positioned as the 3rd seed in the East right now. The success isn't just built on their stars. It's built on the certainty that when the rotation shifts, the collective standard of play, especially for the dirty work like rebounding and defense, will not drop off.
It's just the ultimate example of The opportunity arriving and finding the preparation was already there, ready to meet it. He stayed dedicated, even through weeks of, financial insecurity and watching from the bench, and was able to execute a game-changing role immediately.
I mean, the core lesson here for anyone, really in any professional field, is that your preparation defines the ceiling of your opportunity. You trust the process, you maintain that non-negotiable effort, and you are ready to perform when the trigger is finally pulled.
Which leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to consider. How much of Boston's organizational success as a top seed is dependent not on the performance of their perennial all-stars, but on the organization's ability to recruit and sustain the focus of every single reserve, like Luka Garza, ensuring they can immediately step in and execute a very high-impact, very specific role when the whole rotation suddenly shifts?